Top of the SportsMax Zone for this Thursday. We kick off with a discussion with one of Jamaica's notable defenders over the past 6 years. Damion Lowe has been an ever-present force for the Reggae Boys since making his debut back in 2016, carving out a legacy for himself, having followed in the footsteps of his legendary Jamaican footballer, his father, Onandi Lowe, the 29-year-old, who just recently concluded his first season with Major League Soccer outfit Inter Miami, has been working on the island as an analyst with CVM Television during this year's FIFA World Cup tournament in Qatar. We're pleased to have Damion Lowe joining us in the studio right now. Not an unfamiliar setting, this, Damion. Yes. I've been watching you for the past couple of weeks. I must say you're doing a good job. How are you enjoying it?
Good, good. It takes getting used to, but it's good. It's good. Good experience. Good to, basically share my knowledge and watch it, unfortunately, from the other side of the screen, but it is what it is. Hopefully one day we can get there.
You say unfortunately because I guess the disappointment of the Reggae Boys not going to the World Cup is still lingering.
Yeah, especially watching the games more and more and seeing the likes of Saudi Arabia, Costa Rica, that we
play a lot
and we outplayed them, but football is a cruel sport, and it can get to you sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
well, there's a Brazil fan sitting about 1.5 meters from you, if so much. I'm not sure if that's your team as well.
No. I'm supporting Argentina.
Argentina?
Yeah. They're not my team, but for this World Cup, I'm supporting Argentina.
So you're anticipating their last game against the Dutch then?
To be honest, I'm a Netherlands fan. I'm a Dutch. But I don't like Argentina after playing against them.
Yes.
I was like, you know what? No, man. That team is bad.
Yes.
This team is unreal.
Messi or Ronaldo?
You see, the thing is, after getting the experience, I haven't played against Cristiano Ronaldo, but after playing against Messi and seeing how good he is, Messi for sure.
I have a friend who went and watched that game in New York, and it was the first time he was seeing Messi live. And he said watching him live is completely different from watching him on television. He was suggesting that he knew he was good, but when he saw him for the just about 20 minutes he played, live, his movement, his quickness from, over 5 or 6 meters, amazing. And he says you didn't pick that up on television.
Yeah, imagine running next to him, It's very difficult to mark him. You can't mark him. You're going to get tired. You're going to lose focus because the team is built for him.
Yes.
Let's go right into the business here, right? Because I took a look at the documentary series called The Captains.
Yeah.
Andre Blake played a starring role in the series, and you played a supporting role because you're involved with a couple of plot points.
Yeah.
We're talking about the goal that was taken away from you at the National Stadium against the United States. We're talking about the red card as well. You've had some time to reflect.
Yeah.
What have you learned from the campaign?
That it takes more than what we're used to qualify for a World Cup. Off the field stuff plays a major part into on the field stuff. And if the off the field stuff isn't good, we won't qualify. And there was more things going on off the field than should have been happening that affected our playing, and that's why we're not in Qatar.
Is it only the JFF that you're speaking of?
No.
What else?
Brotherhood, the cohesiveness as a team. And of course, majority of the stuff, the JFF have control over it. They're probably just stubborn or they don't want to get help. But yeah, mostly off the field stuff. But, the players have a role to play also because we're on the pitch. We're the ones that, when the coach gives you instructions, the coach can't do much.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Even there's 60,000 fans in the stands, you can't hear him giving instructions from the bench. So when we go out there, we have to try to follow instructions as much as possible. Sometimes we're having an off day, sometimes we're not good at all. But the coach gets the blame, not the players, But we have to take responsibility too, and I think we didn't perform to our best when we should have. Some games, as you said, the red card, the goal taken away, some drawn games that we should have won, probably would have played a factor into us qualifying.
You felt Whitmore was harshly treated and being let go?
Of course. He was disrespected. Because when I was with Coach Tappa, when Coach Tappa called me in 2016, we were ranked 100 and something.
Yes.
And we went unbeaten for a long time. And we were ranked 43 for over 4 years. That opened doors for players like myself and other players to get opportunities to play in England and other places.
Because of the top 50 world ranking.
Yes. When Tapa left, we just went on a nosedive. You know, so some might say, oh, Tapa is a local coach, he has not much experience, but he's getting the job done. He's winning games. I can't count on my fingers how many games I've lost while under the ranks of Tapa. But again, coaches come and go. Yeah. It's a cycle. Things happen. You just have to move on from it. If a new coach comes in, you have to respect the federation's decision, and you have to work with the coach and help him to, you know, get used to the team, get used to the culture, and to be successful in CONCACAF.
It was hinted in the documentary in terms of whether there was that cohesion, that brotherhood that you speak of now. Andre Blake at the time decided not to get into it, I guess because it was a political, it was too political, and they were in the middle of the qualifiers. I get that. Reminded me of something what happened in '98 before the first game of that '98 World Cup when the documentary came out that involved Fitzroy Simpson. It was about the haves and have-nots, and they were looking down on the local base players, and that happened 24 hours before the game against Croatia. Do you see similarities in that in terms of the guys not coming together, and can you identify the reason why the team wasn't together?
All right. In every team you have egos, you know, and Leon speaks about it, Andre speaks about it. I think sometimes as players we need to focus on the bigger picture, which is getting to the World Cup. But again, a lot of people on the outside looking in was talking about segregation and stuff, but again, when you're in an office and you have 10 people, people are going to sit next to each other who you're familiar with, right? That doesn't mean that there's no cohesiveness. Like at the dinner table, whatever, you know, English-born players or English-based players will sit together, the local-based players who play in the Premier League will sit together, and then probably like myself, other MLS players will sit together who are senior members of the team. That doesn't mean that we're not together, you know? But again, a lot of factors, I said, as egos and like disagreements and stuff like that played a big role. And also off the field stuff, I don't feel like we hang out enough together. I see, like, I have a lot of friends that play for Canada, Trinidad, the USA. In off season, the players link up. They go to dinner, they train together, they go out together to have a drink or whatever.
That's important.
They go on vacation together.
That's important.
Yes, their families hang out together. You know, like that starts to build everything from the ground up. Like now in the off season, players should be coming together. You know, because next year's an important game against Mexico. If we win that game, that's huge for us. Going to the semi-final in the Nations League, like, I think that stuff we need to is the next step.
Yes.
Real cohesiveness.
But were you then surprised that so many new players were brought up just about when the qualifiers were about to start?
No, I'm not surprised at all. That's a typical JFF move.
Were you disappointed then?
Of course, but again, I welcome everyone, because if a player, I believe if a player is good enough, black, white, yellow, green, if him born a Zimbabwe, if him grandmother a Jamaican, he's good enough, come and play for us, you know, because we need the experience and we need the help. But I think we don't have a proper scouting channel whereby, or system or database where they find these players from 3-4 months ago and then bring them in so we can get at least a Gold Cup tournament, Caribbean Cup, Nations League, training camps together. They want to bring them in for a 3-day training just before a game. It's not going to work. We're not going to play properly together. You see, when Tapa played mostly English-based player in the Panama game in Jamaica, we lost horribly because they're really good players, but they haven't been training together that much. So the understanding of the system and everything and how we play and how Tapa want them to play, it's not going to work.
But with professional commitments, it would be difficult for us to have like camps with these players because they do have club commitments.
Yes.
I take your point that what should be done is that they should be brought in a lot earlier, so that we have months and months of them, even though they may not be coming for long periods each time, there is some level of familiarity that will develop over the, period.
Once there's a FIFA window, you know, the rule is every club is obligated to release their players. So if a player doesn't come, if he gets called up, the only reason why a player wouldn't come and shouldn't come is if he's injured or if he decides not to come. If the club blocks the player from going to the national team, they can get sanctioned by FIFA. So clubs hardly do that in a FIFA window. Outside the FIFA window, okay, a club can block a player. So I'm saying call the players up when we have international games, friendlies, Gold Cup, Nations League, they're bringing them in the World Cup qualifying campaign when we only have 2 days to train together. That's the situation that we face.
Let's talk a little bit about the future under Coach Hallgrimsson. Obviously, you'd want to continue being a part of that. In his first press conference, though, he hailed the exploits and the talents of our forwards, and then he said that he'd want more quality as far as the defenders were concerned. Now, you're one of the faces of the team, which means that you're probably the face of the back line. How did you take that as a professional, and how do you move on from there in regards to your relationship with the coach who thinks this way?
Coach Hemir and I have a really good relationship, and the other coaching staff. I don't take it anyway. He's right. If you look at the goals that were scored on us, we conceded too many goals from crosses. We weren't organized at the back. We have good attackers over the years. We probably lacked goals in the tournament also, but we were scoring and we could win some games 1-0. You know, for example, the game in El Salvador, you know, Mikel came on, dribbled by 5-6 man, chipped the keeper, and then we conceded late.
Yes.
You know, that was an important point on the road, yes, but we could have gotten 3 points. So, yeah, I agree. We need to be better defensively. We're really good up front. We're really good in the midfield, but we need to be solid. And the past training camps that I've had with him now,
yes,
you know, I've taken the onus on myself to be a part of that, even when the local-based players are there, so I can work with him because he's really good at getting players solid and well-grounded defensively. He's been working on that a lot.
I want to ask you quickly about the structure in Jamaica. Not that you have had a lot of time in Jamaica for football, but Tyreek McGee did an interview with us this week, and he's now in Belgium, and he is bemoaning the fact that the local structure of football does not prepare our players for international football. So there's a lot of talent there, but now that he's in Europe, his eyes are opened up to a whole new level of professionalism, training regime, dieting, and everything that makes a quality professional footballer, that he is disappointed that it's not available in Jamaica. Talk to me quickly, Damion, about the talent that you see in local base players, and if it is your opinion that they could be a lot better with a proper structure.
Yeah, definitely. Jamaicans are one of the most talented players and athletes and just personals in the world. Wherever we go, we light the room up. We have a spark. You know, we walk in, we have a presence. With my experience in Europe also, it's way different from like what I've experienced in Jamaica. I didn't spend a lot of time in Jamaica, but I came to an era whereby it was very competitive. There was no Super Cup, there was no Champions Cup, there was just mostly Walker Cup, Manning Cup, U17s, U15s. You know, I came to the ranks of the Shawnee Walkers, you know, the Macaulay Toloch, all of those players. So it was really competitive at the time. And you couldn't find, now you have players leaving high school going to play Premier League. If you weren't an elite, like a Marvin Morgan, you couldn't play in the Premier League coming out of high school. And then now, there was a point that where we couldn't leave right away from high school, go pro. Now there's an option for that. But I think we're lack infrastructure. We're lacking that. There's no grassroots programs. Or if there is, I think it's only Harborview, Ballers, Phoenix.
Probably Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
And the only, other than Craig Butler and what he does, it's Harborview is the only club that really have a history of sending players abroad and players securing contracts. You know, I don't think the clubs really take pride into that. They only say, okay, a good 15, 16-year-old, yeah man, make him play some Premier League, and they will try to shop him into a professional team. But when he goes into the professional environment overseas, he's way off. And then after a year, he gets sent back home. So you see like 10, 15 players, they get their first contract, you know. But then after a year, they're back in Jamaica playing in the Premier League because they're lacking that development. So when they go into a country or anywhere where it's way ahead, it's way ahead. Again, look at Japan. We and Japan qualified for 98 World Cup for the first time, and Japan have qualified for almost every World Cup after that. We're still in 98 era. Yeah. Yep. So it goes to show that we're lacking the development, and talent isn't short in Jamaica. We're not short of it, but we just need people to invest in the youth. And if you look at Haiti youth teams qualify for almost every World Cup, you know.
Yeah, especially the under-17s.
Exactly.
Yes.
We don't. Why? But we're way better than these teams. We're way better than these teams.
Preparation. And I think quite often the qualifying process for the under-17s the coaches getting players together and so on happens much too late.
Yeah, exactly.
Much too late, yeah.
But I think sometimes our federation comes under a lot of pressure. But again, the federation can do so much because when you're at your club, you do what your club does. When you're in the national team, it's a different system. But if you look at Holland, and Belgium, they try to create a philosophy right across the board in every club, from U15 right up, to make sure that when you come to the national team, it's the same mentality, the same everything, intensity, everything. That's what we're lacking. You know, there's no blueprint to follow in Jamaica. And also, again, if a player leave Manning Cup, you don't hear about him again, you know. If he can play 2 seasons in Premier League, and after that, if he doesn't get an opportunity to go overseas, you don't hear about him again. Where is he? Where are they now?
Yeah.
You know? And that's just it.
Yeah.
You'd have seen Dejon Richards of Kingston College. A lot has been made of him in terms of him possibly going to the next level. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, of course. I'm really impressed. I saw him in a couple of games. Really impressed. Reminds me of my father. Bomb my left foot, strong, you know, character, you know, bossy, you know, I am the man. Yeah, you have to believe you're the man in order to be great. You know, the greats don't settle and make people tell you, say, yeah, you want people to tell you, but believe you're the man. And he does it, he shows. You see the amount of goals he scores, you know, how he plays. I just think like, okay, it's too easy for him because people are saying, oh, he needs more intensity. But if you're as good as him, you can chill.
You're not going to get it from schoolboy football.
Yeah, you're not going to get it from schoolboy football, you know. And I think Craig has been doing a really good job with him. And also because obviously he represents Kingston College. They've been doing a really good job also. But I think he's a gem and he should be protected at all costs.
Here at Inter Miami, how good is the MLS? Because there are a lot of Caribbean football fans who don't have a lot of regard for the MLS. I think it's not a bad league. What are your thoughts on the MLS?
Do they even watch the MLS?
A few of them do.
Yeah? There's a stigma always in everything that MLS is a retirement league. Older players come, but those older players are really good players still, you know. Yeah. So again, the Zlatans, the Beckham,
maybe Messi,
the Rooney, you know, maybe Messi, maybe a Sergio Busquets, maybe a Cesc Fabregas.
But Messi might be coming to your team.
Yeah, hopefully. I'd love that. You know, but I think MLS is really good. Have really young, talented players, competitive, growing league. Marketing is crazy, sky high, the roof. You know, it helps players to really venture into other stuff after football. It secures your retirement in every way possible form. Like you have no, like you can't say regrets or no excuses like, oh, I didn't get this opportunity. They make you go back to school. They put you into coaching jobs. They give you a lot of opportunities. The resources there is like next to none.
I see where you're enjoying yourself as a pundit, analyzing World Cup football. Yeah. After your retirement, which I think is some ways off, you're 29 years old, so you still have a lot of international football to play. But coaching or being on television analyzing football, which would you choose?
To be honest, I wouldn't choose. I guess a lot of people are saying that I'm really good at what I'm doing now, you know, because they've seen it. But I've never thought about really coaching either, and I never really thought about being a pundit. I always tried to, because when I was growing up in Jamaica, I never really got exposed to a lot of scouting. I wasn't scouted. I wasn't one of the players that coaches would come and scout me. I used to use a little phone that my father buy for me, set it up on a fence, record myself, upload it to YouTube, reach out to schools, reach out to coaches, email them, stuff like that. That's how I got my opportunities to go abroad.
You needed Tanya Lee as your agent then?
So, at that time, yes, but I mean, I want to be not an agent, but like just more of a person, a contact, a scout. A
conduit almost?
Help players to go abroad, get them opportunities, call clubs, have a relationship with clubs, say, hey, listen, I have this talented player. Can he come in on a 3-week trial or a 2-week trial, training camp, whatever. Get players out of Jamaica as much as possible and as quickly as possible. That's what I want to do.
You know what? I want to congratulate you, Damion, on the kind of level of professionalism that you display as a national player, with how articulate you are in your interviews and how forthright you are as a player. I think about one of the YouTube presentations we saw with your discussion with JFF officials, and how staunch you are representing the players, because as you had alluded to earlier on, the players need to be respected and the JFF needs to do its job, just as the players need to do their job as well. So you're a spokesman for the Reggae Boys, and we hope that in the coming World Cup qualifying cycle, there can be a more profound representation from Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean, people, sometimes when we say, for instance, strike, in which I think we've never really striked, or we speak out about things, people always say it's about money, but it's not about money. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we talk about, that we try to, explain to the JFF or anybody that has control over us, traveling, hotels, stuff like that. Just the small things that we need fixing. Because I believe, as a footballer, if you perform well, you win games, money will come. If you're successful in everything, money will come. But if you're not properly rested, if you don't travel properly, if you don't sleep properly, if you don't eat properly, you won't be able to perform at the highest level, and money won't come. You understand? So there's more stuff that has to be taken care of before we go on the pitch. And that's what we ask of, Just small little administrative stuff, small stuff that get us situated and stuff like that. And the world is ours. Jamaicans, we've done it before. We've been to back-to-back Gold Cup finals. We've won Caribbean Cups. Now we're in the, if we win this game, we go to the semi-final of the Nations League. And if you look at the World Cup qualifying, yes, the results didn't go our way, but we're not far off. We're definitely not far off. Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, and we outclassed Saudi Arabia in Saudi Arabia. We played against Argentina. To be honest, the first goal they scored, other than that, Argentina really didn't do anything.
I remember the Mexico game. Mexico went to the World Cup, and you were in Mexico, and you were with them toe-to-toe, strike for strike.
With players that have no international experience. Yes. I think it's only like 4 of us that have played overseas. Yes. Everybody else is just local youth that hungry, want to make a name for themselves, and we want to feed them family. You understand? And that separates you. Your reason why you want to play and be successful.
Can you make a pledge, Damion, to the Jamaican fans that the next World Cup, the Reggae Boys would be there?
Yeah,
we have about 10 spot, right? From Africa.
To be honest, I'm always for it. As Jamaicans say, put your head on the block. I'll put my head on the block for my teammates because I'm just that type of player, Take a shot in the face, me broke my foot, me show me head in a shot for my team because I want Jamaica to be respected and to be world renowned. As a national team, a powerhouse in CONCACAF. I posted on my Instagram page the other day, saying that, listen, I believe we can go to the World Cup in USA, Canada, and Mexico.
Yeah.
I believe so. It's not going to be easy because everybody's saying, yeah, it's 3 extra spots. It's not going to be easy because teams are recruiting, teams are developing, the Surinams, the Curaçaos, Honduras is always in the mix.
Or arch nemesis Panama.
Panama or Bogey team. There are teams that are good. We have to get the job done still.
Yeah.
But the chances are bigger than the normal.
Yes.
Yes.
So they should be able to do it.
Yes.
Damion Lowe, a real pleasure having you on the SportsMax Zone. We're looking forward to chatting with you again.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
Damion Lowe, Reggae Boy, and getting ready for the next cycle of World Cup qualifying, where he's pledging that the Reggae Boys will get the job done. We'll have more on the SportsMax Zone after this.